May 23, 1934. A quiet country road in Louisiana. A stolen Ford V8 roars through the early morning fog, when suddenly, gunfire. Over 130 bullets later, America's most infamous outlaw couple is no more. But who were they? Lovers? Criminal masterminds? Or two desperate kids chasing the American nightmare? Welcome to Yesterday Now, the show where history hits different. Today, our time machine ride will dive into the thrilling, violent, and tragic last day of Bonnie and Clyde. They were young, stylish, and dangerous. A Depression-era Romeo and Juliet with Tommy guns. Bonnie Parker was a 19-year-old waitress with big dreams and a flair for poetry. Clyde Barrow? A small-time thief turned hardened criminal who'd already been to prison before he turned 21. Together, they were a media sensation and a lawman's worst nightmare. Between 1932 and 1934, Bonnie and Clyde, along with their gang, blazed a bloody trail through Texas, Oklahoma, Missouri, and beyond, robbing banks, breaking prisoners out of jail, and leaving behind a pile of bodies. But here's the twist. They weren't criminal masterminds. In fact, most of their robberies barely made a profit. Sometimes they stole just enough for a meal and gas. But what they did have? Style. The newspapers loved them. They ran with headlines like "Barrow Gang on the Loose" and published photos of Bonnie posing with pistols and cigars. To the public, they were rebels, anti-heroes in a world that seemed stacked against the little guy. But behind the headlines, they were running scared, always moving, always looking over their shoulders. By early 1934, the law had had enough. Enter Frank Hamer, a legendary Texas Ranger brought out of retirement. His mission? Hunt down Bonnie and Clyde. No arrests, just justice. Hamer spent weeks studying the gang's patterns, their hideouts, their friends, even their favorite food stops. And then, on May 23rd, his trap was set. Around 9:15 a.m., on a remote road near Gibbsland, Louisiana, Bonnie and Clyde's Ford V8 appeared. Unaware, they slowed down to greet a familiar face, a friend helping lure them in. And then, ambush. 6 lawmen unleashed a hail of bullets. The car was riddled with holes. Bonnie and Clyde never stood a chance. Witnesses said it was over in seconds. That car? It still exists. A bullet-speckled time capsule of one of the most dramatic manhunts in American history. Their deaths shocked the nation, but they also ended an era, the so-called public enemy days of the early 30s. Before she died, Bonnie wrote a haunting poem. One line reads, "Someday they'll go down together and they'll bury them side by side." And that's exactly what happened. They were buried just miles apart in Dallas, Texas, 2 kids consumed by the legend they helped create. So, were they folk heroes or cold-blooded criminals? Maybe both. Maybe neither. But one thing's for sure. On this day in history, May 23rd, 1934, Bonnie and Clyde's final chapter was written in lead. Liked that blast from the past? Hit that like button, subscribe for more historic deep dives, and let us know in the comments. What story should we bring to life next on Yesterday Now? Because history isn't just facts and dates, it's drama, it's mystery, it's now.